Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a really powerful logical argument about life, about creation, and what happens next. It's all drawn from a passage in the Quran's Sura Yaseen. And really, it's a journey that asks us to use reason and just simple observation to think about one of the biggest questions we've ever had. So the argument kicks off with this really fascinating, almost profound thought about being human. Think about it. When someone gets to live a really long life, it's almost like their development starts going in reverse, right? They return to a state of dependency. And the question it throws at us right from the get-go is, hey, shouldn't we be able to use our own minds, our own reason, to see the pattern in all this? Okay, so before it really starts building its case, the text first makes it super clear what it is and what it isn't. This first part is all about setting the stage and drawing a really distinct line in the sand. And here's where that line gets drawn. A really critical distinction is made. This message, it says, isn't just human poetry. It's not about art for art's sake. No, it's framed as something totally different, a divine reminder. And its goal? It's meant to be a crystal clear warning, specifically for anyone who is, and I'm quoting here, truly alive. Someone who's actually paying attention and ready to hear it. All right, so next up, the argument pivots. It moves away from just defining the message itself and starts pointing to the real, tangible world all around us. It's basically asking us to look for the proof right there in our everyday life. And what's the first piece of evidence it points to? Something super common: livestock. Yeah, cattle. We're just prompted to, look at them and to really think about our relationship with them. This whole dynamic, where we humans are the masters over these creatures, that's presented as a really profound sign of something bigger at play. And it gets even more specific. These animals aren't just part of the scenery, right? They're here for our benefit. We use them for writing, for food, for milk, and for just a ton of other practical things that, frankly, make our lives a whole lot easier, even possible. And this is a huge turning point in the argument. After laying out all these practical, real-world gifts that we can see and touch, it suddenly pivots inward. It's not just about observing anymore, it's about feeling. It asks this very direct moral question that connects all that evidence directly to one thing: gratitude. So this brings us right to the central conflict of this whole passage. And it's all about a very human thing we tend to do. We forget. We forget where we came from. And when we forget, we start to challenge the very source of our own existence. There's a really deep irony being pointed out here. When people look for help, they often turn to other powers, other gods. But the argument is that these alternatives, they're powerless themselves. They can't actually provide any real help at all. And now, the argument gets intensely personal. It zooms way in, from the whole world right down to a single person, reminding us of our own incredibly humble beginnings, from a single biological drop. It's a pretty powerful reality check, for sure. And here's the kicker, the big contrast that really drives the point home. Despite starting from this fragile, almost microscopic place, what happens? Humanity becomes, as the text puts it, openly argumentative, contentious, just completely forgetful of how we even got here. And all of this leads to the ultimate skeptical question. This is it. This is the core challenge that's thrown down by that argumentative person who's forgotten where they came from. It's the big one, the question that the whole rest of the argument is built to answer. All right, so now we get to the climax. This is where the argument delivers its big, definitive answer to that challenge about bringing life back to rotted bones. And what's fascinating is that the rebuttal doesn't start with some complicated miracle. It starts with a piece of just beautifully simple logic. The answer is basically, hey, the one who created them in the first place, that's the one who will give them life again. It's like if you have the power to create something from scratch, you for sure have the power to recreate it. And to make its point, the argument uses this really striking analogy from the natural world. The power that can create fire, which is, a hot, dry thing, from a green tree, which is full of water. The idea of bringing forth a total opposite like that is used as proof of a power that goes way beyond what we'd normally expect. Then the argument just scales up dramatically. It asks this incredibly powerful rhetorical question. Basically, if a being is powerful enough to create the entire universe, the heavens and the earth, is it really a struggle to recreate something as small by comparison as a person? The implied answer is a huge, resounding no. So, what does this incredible creative power even look like when it's in action? Well, it's presented as something totally absolute, totally effortless. Creation doesn't need a whole process or any effort, it just takes a single, decisive command. And that's the thing. The command and the result happen at the same time. There's no delay, there's no gap between the will to create something and that thing actually existing. It's just be. And it is. Instantly. So after laying out all this evidence from nature and all this logic about creation, the argument wraps up with this powerful declaration. It's a statement of complete awe for the one power that has control over literally everything. And so we don't end on a question. We end with this incredibly definitive statement. It's the final conclusion of the entire argument. And it perfectly answers that very first observation we talked about life being a kind of reversal. The journey, it says, ends right where it started, with a return to the Creator.